Red Bull racing has always thrived on intensity, aggression, and psychological warfare, traits that defined the Christian Horner era. But as Formula One accelerates toward the most disruptive regulation reset in its history in 2026, the team faced a brutal internal question. Do you keep fighting the present or sacrifice today for tomorrow? That question would ultimately divide Red Bull's leadership and cost Horner his job. Laurent Mekies arrived quietly, almost unexpectedly, just before the 2025 summer break. No theatrics, no public power plays. Yet within weeks, Red Bull's direction shifted, not just strategically, but culturally. And when Max Verstappen launched one of the most remarkable title comebacks in modern F1 history, the paddock began to wonder, had Red Bull already chosen its future and buried its past? If you want to understand how this power shift will reshape Red Bull, Verstappen, and the 2026 title fight, make sure you subscribe now. Because this story is bigger than it looks. Laurent Mekies' arrival at Red Bull was not supposed to be seismic. On paper, it looked like a safe transitional appointment. A steady engineer replacing one of the most dominant and outspoken team principals in Formula One history. But what followed revealed a far deeper ideological clash that had been building for years behind the scenes. The first true fracture between Mekies and Christian Horner emerged after Zandvoort, when Max Verstappen found himself a staggering 104 points behind in the championship. From Horner's perspective, the situation was brutally clear. Formula One teams do not think in weeks. They think in years. With the 2026 regulations looming and Red Bull preparing to race with its own power unit for the first time, Horner believed development resources should be redirected immediately. Sacrifice the present, protect the future. Mekies disagreed. Fundamentally, where Horner operated as a strategist and political operator, Mekies approached the problem as an engineer. His belief was simple: momentum matters, confidence matters, and abandoning a season, even a damaged one, sends a dangerous message inside a team built on relentless competitiveness. Against conventional long-term logic, Mekies pushed to keep upgrading the car, extracting performance wherever possible, even if it meant marginal compromises elsewhere. It was a risky call, but it worked. Verstappen's comeback wasn't just impressive, it was destabilizing for Red Bull's internal hierarchy. From being written off after Zandvoort, Max surged back into contention, finishing the season just 2 points behind Lando Norris. That performance didn't just validate Mekies' philosophy, it undermined Horner's. Suddenly, the argument that the season was already lost no longer held weight. But the difference between Horner and Mekies was never only about development paths. Christian Horner's Red Bull was built on psychological warfare. For years, he leaned heavily into public confrontation, fueling rivalries with Toto Wolff and Zak Brown, using media narratives as weapons, and embracing the role of Formula One's pantomime villain. This wasn't accidental, it was deliberate culture setting. Pressure your rivals, distract them, force errors before the lights even go out. That culture filtered down to the garage. The infamous Tapegate incident at the 2025 United States Grand Prix perfectly encapsulates this mindset. By removing the tape marking Lando Norris's grid reference, Red Bull crossed a minor regulatory line, earning a £43,000 fine. But the true intention wasn't financial. It was psychological. Disrupt Norris's routine, inject doubt, gain a mental edge. Under Horner, this behaviour would have escalated. Under Mekies, it ended. At the following race in Mexico, Mekies publicly dismissed such tactics as silly games, a phrase that landed like a quiet rebuke of the previous regime. According to an unnamed Red Bull insider, If Christian Horner was still in charge, this would have gone on much longer. That single sentence speaks volumes about why Horner's position had become increasingly uncomfortable. Red Bull's Austrian ownership had grown weary of the constant political noise, not because it failed. Horner delivered 8 championship seasons, but because the sport itself was changing. With Red Bull powertrains entering unknown territory, the cost of reputational damage, penalties, and political vendettas suddenly outweighed the benefits of intimidation. Mekies represents a structural reset. He is not interested in winning headlines. He is interested in winning lap time. His focus is inward, optimizing the car, improving operational discipline, and building a technically resilient organization capable of surviving the chaos of 2026. In that context, mind games become distractions, not advantages. Yet traces of the old Red Bull still remain. At the Abu Dhabi title decider, Yuki Tsunoda's overly aggressive defending against Norris, weaving excessively and earning a penalty, reopened old wounds. McLaren were furious, particularly Zak Brown, who felt betrayed after Mekies had promised a clean fight. That moment revealed something crucial. While the leadership philosophy may have changed, instinctive behaviours don't disappear overnight. And this is where Mekies' real test begins. Formula One rewards ruthlessness as much as precision. Mekies' calm, cooperative approach has earned goodwill from rivals like Brown and Wolff. A stark contrast to Horner's confrontational legacy, but goodwill does not win championships. Performance does. If Red Bull struggles in 2026 with its first ever homegrown power unit, patience will evaporate quickly. And when pressure peaks, the question will return: can Red Bull truly abandon its old ways? Or will the Horner era prove impossible to escape? Because in Formula One, philosophies don't die quietly. They wait for weakness. So here's the real question. Did Red Bull fire Christian Horner because his methods stopped working? Or because they were no longer compatible with the future Red Bull wants to build in 2026 and beyond? And if Mekies fails under the pressure of Red Bull's first ever homegrown power unit, will this era of calm professionalism last? Or will Red Bull return to its dark arts once again? Let me know what you think.